Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel Unyistitches. In this channel we upload sewing tutorial, pattern drafting, sewing tips and sewing tricks. So if this is your first time you're seeing me, welcome to my channel, and to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your support. So in today's tutorial we want to learn how to draft your basic pants pattern. So without wasting much of our time, let's go straight into the tutorial. As you can see, this is my pattern paper and these are the pens, the markers I'm going to use. So I'm going to make use of two markers, one for my front pattern, which is the orange, and the green for my back pattern. So without wasting much of our time, let's go straight into the tutorial. As you can see on my pattern paper, I've drawn some lines, one at the upper part and one at the side. So what I have here is 3 inches from the edge of my paper. I measure 3 inches. Then I roll a straight line. And on the side, I measure the same 3 inches and roll a straight line down to the other edge of my paper. As you are going on, you really understand the reason I did that. So I will call this my waistline, WL. So the next thing will be for me to go ahead and divide my hip measurement by 4. So the hip I'm working with is 41 inches. So when I divide 41 by 4, I'll have 10.25. So I will square my 10.25 here to have a square. So starting from this point, I will mark my 10.25. I will mark it on this other line. Then I'm going to mark here as well so that I can draw a straight line. Then I will draw it this way, mark it this way, 10.25. So I will connect to form a square. Can you see? The next thing will be for me to impute my waist to hip measurement. So in all this measurement, make sure you make use of your own measurement, not the one I'm using here, unless you are the same size. So my waist to hip is 8 inches. So you have to mark yours from waist to hip. What's the measurement you have? Then you mark it down. So after drawing that, the next thing will be for me to impute my waist measurement. So I will going to divide my waist by 4. So the waist I'm working with, the waist circumference I'm working with is 32 inches. When I divide it by 4, I have 8 inches. So I will come to my waist line. I'm going to mark 8 inches plus 1 inch for my dart. So that will make it 9 inches. So I'm going to connect it using a straight line to my hip line. Going to extend the line a bit. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is for me to mark my crotch extension. And for you to mark your crotch extension for the front, you have to divide your hip measurement by 20. The hip we are working with, the hip circumference is 41. So when I divide by 41 inches by 20, I have 2.05. So I will approximate it to 2.25. So I will come to my crotch line, this line. I will mark 2.25. Can you see? So that is my crotch extension line. So coming to this hip line, I'm going to mark 0.25 inch outside this line. Then I will use my curve ruler. I will connect from this my crotch extension to this 0.25. Then I'll join it with this line. Can you see? That is my crotch line. So I will go ahead now and impute my dart measurement. For my dart, I'm going to measure half of this line, which is the waist measurement. Remember, it was 8 without the dart. I'll mark the center of it. That is 4.5. Remember, our dart was 1 inch, so I'm going to come in by half of an inch on both sides. And my dart length for the front will be 4.5. You can use between 4 and 4.5, but I'm okay with 4.5. So I will draw my straight line, connect my dart leg. Coming to my side outer seam. Here, I'm going to come up by 1/2 inch. I'm going to connect it to this other dart leg. So the next thing will be for me to mark the length of my pant. I want 46 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark my 46 inches. So remember, when marking, you start from your normal line, your waist measurement line, not this one that you raised by 1/2 inch. So I will mark from this line. I'm going to shift my pattern so that you can see it. A straight line. So that is the full length of my pants. So the next thing I will do now will be for me to mark my crease line. And for you to have your crease line, I'm going to mark 1/2 of this, my cross line. So I'll measure my cross line. I have 12.5. So I will fold my tape to get 1/2 of it. So 1/2 of 12.5 should be 6.25. So I'll go ahead and mark the same 6.25 on my full length line. My ruler is not that long, so I will mark it same here so that I can connect my line. I believe you can see. So that is your crease line. So now for you to determine your knee length, you have to measure from your cross line to your full length line. I have 35 here, so you have to divide that by 2. When you divide your 35 inches by 2, you have 17.5. So from that, your 17.5, you come up by 1.5 inch. That will be your knee line, which is 16 inches. So I'll go ahead and measure 16 here. You can decide to come up by 1 inch. It doesn't really matter. That's between 1 and 1.5. So I'm going to draw a straight line there. So that is my knee line. Now I'm going to impute my round knee measurement and my ankle measurement. So the round knee measurement I'm working with is 17 inches. So I'm going to divide that 17 inches by 4. The reason I'm dividing my round knee measurement by 4 is that your pants, we have front and we have back. So as we are drafting it, we have one side of the front, this other side of the front, and then we have the same thing for the back panel. So I'm going to put one of it here, one of it here, and the same. I will do the same for the back, which is why I'm dividing it by 4. So the one I'm working with is 17 inches. When I divide my 17 by 4, I have 4.25. So I'm going to mark my 4.25. Starting from this line, I will mark my 4.25 towards this side and 4.25 towards this other side. That is my 4.25. So the next thing will be for me to impute my round ankle measurement. So the round ankle measurement I'm working with is 15 inches. So when I divide that by 4, I will have 3.75. I'll go ahead and mark my 3.75. Then I'm going to connect it to my round knee measurement. Can you see? Then I'm going to join here to my cross line. Can you see? Can you see? So that is basically everything for the front. So now let's go ahead and draft the back. Remember I said I'm using the same pattern paper to draft the front and the back. So after drafting it, I'm going to trace it out. I'll trace the front out. I'll trace the back out. Then I will keep my master pattern. This line, I'm going to come in by 1 inch towards this side. Then at my waistline, to come in by 2 inches. Then from this point of 2 inches, I'm going to draw a straight line joining this one and this one together. So I will extend my line. Can you see? So from this point, my waist inches, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. You can decide to come up by 2.5, depending on the shape of the person. If the person have a big boot, you can come in by 2.5. If the person is slim, you can make use of 1.5. But for this, I'm going to make use of 2 inches. So I'll mark my 2 inches. So the next thing I will do will be for me to impute my hip measurement on my cross line. Remember we had 10.25. So I will mark 10.25. That is my 10.25. Then I will impute my waist measurement on the waistline, starting from this line. Remember our waist measurement is 8 inches. When I add 1 inch, that gives me 9 inches. I'll go ahead and extend this line. I'll extend this one as well. So I'm going to connect to have a straight line. So after connecting this line, I will raise my side the same way I raise for the front by 1/2 inch. Mark my 1/2 inch. Then I'll go ahead and connect from this my 2 inches to this other one, from here to here. Believe you understand. So that is my back pattern. So now let's extend our crush. So the crush extension for the back, you have to divide your hip measurement by 10 inches. Remember for the front it was by 20. So for the back, we divide your hip measurement by 10. So 41 inches divided by 10. I have 4.1. From this point, from this line, I will mark my 4.1 inches. I will extend this line first. So I will mark my 4.1 starting from my green line. Remember, my back is with green marker. Then on this, my hip line also, I'm going to come out by 0.25. Then I will use my curve ruler to curve it out. Can you see? So this is my crush for the back. So what I will do next will be for me to go ahead and impute my dart. So the dart for back will still be the 1/2 of my back. That's the back measurement divided by 2. Then I'm going to impute 1/2 inch on both sides. Then my dart length will be 5 inches. Can you see? That is my dart. For the back, the dart is slightly slant because the back pattern is slant. Okay, so now let's work on this other part. I will go to my knee line. I'm going to add 0.75 on both sides. I do same at the ankle line. Add the same 0.75. So I'm going to connect the lines. Can you see? I will connect for this other inner seam. Then I will go ahead and connect to this crush line. Can you see? I will as well use my curve ruler and connect from my crush extension to this other line. Can you see? The next thing will be for me to shape my front waist line. So I'm going to pull in my dart. Can you see? So I'm going to come in by half of an inch. Remember, front is orange marker. So I'll mark my half inch like that. Then I'm going to connect it. Can you see? I've shaped my front waistline. So this is basically everything on how to draft your basic pants pattern. So I will go ahead and trace it on another pattern paper. I will trace my front pattern and I will trace my back pattern. You can go ahead and add your seam allowance. For the outer seam, you can decide to add 1 inch all through. Then for your inner seam, you can decide to add 0.5 for the joining of the crush all through. You can add it on your pattern paper, you can add it on your fabric when cutting your fabric. So now let's trace it out. I've pinned down my pattern on another pattern, plain pattern paper. So I will take my pattern off. I'm going to follow my tracing wheel and trace out everything. I'm going to blend my hip line here. So this is the front. I'll go ahead and cut from my back. So for my back, I'll place my pattern paper on my plain pattern paper. Then I'll go ahead and fold it down. Make sure that my paper lies flat. I'll go ahead and use my tracing wheel and trace the back. Remember, the back is the green marker. So I've traced out. I'll take off my master pattern. I'm going to use my marker and trace it out as well. So after tracing out your pattern, you can decide to keep this your master pattern. This one you can use it anytime that you want to make a pant trouser for the same client. You can just trace out the pattern for the front, trace out for the back, then you can do alteration. Even if you want to do your palazzo pants, you can as well use this same pattern and then do some alteration for you to have your palazzo. If you want to have your bell bottom, same pattern to manipulate any style of pant that you want to make. So this your master pattern, you keep it in a safe place that you can use another time. So these are my pattern. Can you see my front pattern and my back pattern? Can you see how beautiful it looks like? Let me keep them on top of each other so that you can see. So this is my front and my back after placing them together. Can you see the difference? So thank you so much guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe to our channel, and turn on your notification bell so that when once I upload new sewing tutorial, you'll be first to be notified. Bye bye. See you on next tutorial.